Episode 17 of Get to Know Your Nation. Ivory Coast, Los Elephants. Elephants. Well, the elephants. Anyways, this is their fourth World Cup appearance in nation's history for Ivory Coast. In 2006, they made their debut. 2010 and 2014. All three of those years were all group stages. So they're trying to make to their first ever knockout stage or playoffs, round of 32. There you go, in nation's history. They're led by coach Emirates Fa, who had a good job with this nation, of course, leading into their AFCON winners, I believe, in 2025, if I'm right or wrong. His resume is impressive. 21 wins, 5 draws, 5 losses. Now, all those were on him, and he's doing a tremendous job. The question will be, can he do it at the biggest stage? I think he can do it, but their group will be a little more tougher than they will be. Players to watch. There's so many younger players in this list. For example, one of them, Amon Delia, the midfielder from Manchester United, 23 years old, in the starting lineup, doing a tremendous job with Manchester United's midfielder. He's been scoring goals for them, and man, I could see him being one of those players that he can step up in the biggest moments. I could see him scoring a lot of goals. Another 28-year-old, another player that should rise up, Emmanuel Agabor, the defender from Wolves. He is, of course, 28 years old. He's probably going to be a really good center back for Los Elephants. Their goalkeeper, Albin Lafont, goalkeeper from Chenac or Hantexpo, 27 years old. He's been their goalkeeper one option. We'll see if they can go with a different option at goalkeeper. I don't think so. I think they'll start with him as goalkeeper one. And then a player that I hope we can get to see in this year's World Cup, and I did not know about this, Wilfried Zaha. Yes, Wilfried Zaha, the forward from Charlotte FC, 33 years old still. He could make an impact in this year's World Cup. Now, he's been up and down with the national team. The last time he was with the national team, I believe, was during their AFCON qualification playoffs or AFCON Nations tournament. So if they do call him up for the World Cup, I think he's going to make an impact for them to make it to the round of 32. And that brings us to their group, Group E. And they're going to be they're going to have a real tough start against Ecuador, against Germany, and they easily end off with Curacao. So I look at this as Ecuador could be one they could upset as we'll go to their best scenario. If they beat Ecuador, they lose to Germany, and they beat Curacao, they could be a second place team, and I could see them in the round of 16. That's how far I'm going to put them, but maybe the highest would be the quarterfinals. But I think the best ceiling for them is the round of 16. That's if you beat both Ecuador and Curacao. The worst scenario, if they lose to both, or let's say they lose both Ecuador, Germany, and then they draw with Curacao, I don't see them getting into the round of 32, and they're going to go home early. But I think predictable, we'll talk about predictions wise. They draw with Ecuador. They lose to Germany. They beat Curacao, which that would be 4 points. They could be one of those best of third place teams and make it to the round of 32 for the first time in nation's history. Again, they were the former AFCON champions. They know how to win in these big stages. So can they do it in this World Cup? I could see that. The question is going to be, are these young players ready for this World Cup? If they can do it, and I do think it's going to happen, I could see them test with Germany. Yes, they're a younger nation, and Germany, yes, they're the giants. They're one of those giants like France and Spain and England. But Germany has been struggling in the last two World Cups. Remember that. They failed to go to the round of 16 in 2018 because they lost to South Korea and Mexico. And then in 2022, they failed to qualify again to the round of 16 because they had a disappointing campaign, losing to Japan, draw with Spain. They beat Costa Rica, but it was not enough for them to get through the round of 16. So there's some positives with Ivory Coast. I think if we're talking the best match for Ivory Coast, you're looking at either Ecuador, which should be a real good one, and Germany. And I could see them testing Germany in a real good game. Because they have the youngsters stepping up, how much pressure is on them to lead this nation to getting probably, as my best scenario, to the round of 16, or maybe the worst scenario, sending them home. But I think I have positives with Ivory Coast because there is a chance they could be one of those best of third place teams and make it through to the round of 16. We'll get past the round of 32 first, and then you get past to the round of 16. That's it for Getting to Know Your Nation, Ivory Coast, episode 17. Episode 18 will be one of those teams that they will start off the World Cup against Ecuador. So episode 18 will be Ecuador. If you've not seen my other videos, go check them out on my channel. Of course, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell for more sports news.